Hello and welcome to the Wealthy Trades Daily Market Forecast for April 16th, 2015. Let's get started right away. Let's look at the SPY real quick. All right, we're bumping around. We're still struggling at these areas. All right, been talking about this area for a long time. It's important to look at kind of the overall ETFs. All right, there's kind of four core ETFs: the SPY, which is the S&P; the Diamonds, DIA, which is the Dow ETF; Nasdaq 100, essentially QQQs; and the Russell 2000, which is the IWM. I'm going to focus mainly on the SPY, though we are in an uptrend. Okay, we do have a tendency of hitting the uptrend side. Let's look at the levels to win chart. We do have a tendency of hitting the uptrend side at a pretty high rate on a Thursday. Okay, remember what this represents. This represents an uptrend on a Thursday. All right, in a similar environment on Thursdays, only Thursdays. That's the thing is we take what is the historical high, what is the projected high. The projected high today in the SPY is 211.39. Projected low is 209.57. That's based on the closing price yesterday. Okay, so we closed at 210.43. Well, we then say, okay, well, over a certain period of time when the SPY has been in an uptrend on a Thursday, because that's what we're at today, is a Thursday, how often does it hit its upside? And as we can see, it's expected upside in an uptrend. Well, 53.8% of the time it hits its upside. So we could see a breakout today, okay, which could get us, within, shouting distance of that all-time high. So that'll be interesting to watch. And not only that, but it's a nice trending day simply because we hit the trend side much more often than we hit the counter trend side, and we have a levels to win profit on both sides. So I think we're going to potentially, futures are down a little bit right now, but I think we could potentially see a bounce right at the open and then a nice rally all day long. And that's kind of going to play into the theme that we're in. Yesterday what we did is we went long DVN, which was a good trade. It opened at 66.66. It actually put in a high of 67.37, which was really good. I ended up closing at 66.95, so decent day, about what the market did. And then what you could have done is Paris trade went short XLV, which was actually down slightly too. So if you think about this, in a market that was up, we picked a stock that was up, a little less than 0.5%, and then we also picked a stock to pair it with, or the sector to pair it with, that was down, about 0.25%. So not bad, not a bad day at all for us yesterday. Actually, a decent day. Today we've got some different things going on. Okay, today what we've got is we've got an uptrend in the market trend quality. Real quick though, before I go into today, I have gotten a few questions on the navigation of the dashboard. Okay, so it's very important to understand this. When you're clicked on the daily tab, you are looking at daily information based on the prior day's close. So this information, and this updates at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon Central Time every day. So at 4 o'clock every day, so 4 o'clock yesterday, this updated and reflects what we're looking at for the upcoming day, for Thursday, for today. So this information is calculated off of yesterday's information. What we know is, and this is, so I'm clicked on the daily tab, what we know is 64.7% of the stocks are in an uptrend, and the quality of that, so kind of the momentum gauge, is high too. Okay, so that's powerful information. This daily information will remain the same all the way, all day, all through today until today closes, and then we'll update at about 4 o'clock today, about an hour after the market closes. On a weekly basis, okay, if you click the weekly tab here, this information is updated about 4 o'clock on Fridays, or the last trading day of the week, okay, and is good the entire following next week. So this information was updated at about 4 o'clock last Friday and is good. It will stay the same all this week. All right, and that's the reason why the healthcare sector, if you've wondered, the healthcare sector, and we're long UNH, but ANTM is the best stock. All those, it'll stay the same. On the monthly basis, this updates. All right, if you click on the monthly basis, this updates at the last trading day of the month at about 4 o'clock on the last trading day of the month, and remains the same all month long. Okay, it shows the monthly levels. For example, the XLV this month has an expected high. Okay, it basically closed at it closed March essentially at probably right around 72.50, give or take, but it has an expected high this month of $74.56. Well, it's getting close to that. This is going to stay the same all month long. Very, very important to understand. Also, it's important to understand these tabs over here. So this is the portfolio, or this is the dashboard tab up here. It's the same as clicking dashboard here. When I hit the plus sign, so if I hit the plus sign on the XLE, let's say, it doesn't take it out of the calculations. What it does is it moves it over into my portfolio, which is this center tab right here. So I hit the plus sign on the XLE, and now the XLE is over in my portfolio. On the normal dashboard on here, what I can't do, so XLE, what I can't do is I can't look at individual stocks on here. If I click on the plus, if I click on this, it'll take me over to my search, and then I'll have to go back to the dashboard. But what I can do is I can look at all these kind of on one tab, and I can go hit the plus sign next to them, and these are the stocks, and this will take it over into my individual portfolio, okay, which is the middle tab. So now I hit the plus sign on all those stocks, along with everything that I hit plus sign is now in my portfolio. Okay, so if you have your favorite stocks that you like to look at, and it doesn't even have to be stocks that are in the dashboard, but if you have, let's say, Netflix and Tesla and whatever it might be, you can put those in your portfolio. But this makes it easier. With that said, I've had questions on Tyson. You know, how do I search for my stocks that I want to search for? You know, because on the dashboard, all I see is the sectors and then the 8 stocks that are, you know, the best 8 stocks in the sectors. Well, what if, you know, the stock that I'm trying to look at, let's say Tesla, isn't in the dashboard? How do I search for that? Well, you hit the spyglass down here, all right, right here, and you can click there, and then you can search for any stock you want to search for. So, for example, Tesla, it'll pull up the stats for Tesla, and this is daily. We see that. Look at Tesla. This thing trends really well on a Thursday in an uptrend. It's got a 67.3% chance of hitting 210.44 today, and only a 13.5% chance of hitting the downside. It makes money. So Tesla is actually a really, really good stock to go long, and I can also get the information on a weekly and a monthly basis also. Okay, very, very important to understand. But this is the thing. If I want to move this, let's say Tesla is one of those stocks that I want to move into my portfolio and look at. I can hit the plus sign, and now Tesla is in my portfolio. Okay, so it's important for you guys to understand that, to understand how to navigate around and everything like that. So again, yesterday was a good day. Long DVN, short XLV, decent day. For the week, we are still long XLV. It's doing okay. We also called out long UNH. UNH had earnings today, and I got to tell you, it's up really nice. I'll do a recap tomorrow, and the performance on that is really good. For the day, though, we are in uptrend, and the quality is finally above 50%. So now we're going to go long only, all right, in the best sector, and we're going to find the best stock to go long within that sector. So let's do our pair down analysis. Remember what we do. I've moved all those stocks into my portfolio. Now what we do is we look and we want to eliminate anything that doesn't have a levels to win profit. I want to explain what this means. All right, SWN closed yesterday, closed Wednesday. Yesterday was Wednesday. It closed at 26.69. It has today, for a Thursday, all right, historically, and it has a 27.12. It should go up to $27.12. It should go down to 26.26. Those are the expected ranges. All right, what this is telling me, the HPP is telling me the historically, how often does it hit the expected high when it's in an uptrend on a Thursday? And it, as we can see, it hits it 57.7% of the time. So obviously shorting SWN on a Thursday when it's in an uptrend doesn't make any sense because it has a high tendency of rallying and hitting its upside. It also has a pretty high tendency of closing above that. This levels on levels tells me how often, percentage-wise, does it close above that. Okay, and then the levels to win profit on the trend side tells me when it hits this level. So let's say it closed at 26.69, all right, and let's say it rallies up and it hits 27.12 today. Well, historically, when it hits that level, does it typically hit it and then sell off? If it did, it'd lose money. No, it typically hits it and rallies, continues to rally and make money by the end of the day. And this is by closing it at the end of the day. So buying at 27.12 is a decent thing too. On the counter trend side, same thing. It hits this level 34.6% of the time. It shows you the power of the trend. It doesn't have a tendency of closing below that level often at all. But when it hits that level, and this is always in the direction of the trend, when it hits 26 historically, so the expected downside historically on Thursdays, it has a tendency of hitting that and then rallying and closing above that. And I know that because we're in an uptrend and it makes money. So when it hits 26.26, that's a good level to buy because it typically bounces and closes higher. So first elimination thing I do is I look at the levels to win profit. Need to make sure it makes money on both sides. Now I'm going to eliminate anything that doesn't, okay? So I'm just flipping through here. So the XLE itself doesn't, which there's information in here. Remember, we're looking for the best stock within the energy sector. So think about this. If the energy sector itself loses money when it hits the downside, the downtrend area, well, what we could potentially do is this. Let's say that we find the best stock, let's say RIG is the best stock in the XLE. Well, we can go long RIG, and we can use the XLE, all right, the energy sector, as our gauge, where if the energy sector itself hits 74.96, we might want to close our position in all our positions in RIG, in the stock that we're in, because historically the XLE has a tendency of falling further, and it might take our stock down. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, I'm going to eliminate the XLE. I'll keep it because I'll kind of talk about a little bit more about what I talked about just now. But I'm going to eliminate that one. I'm going to eliminate MER. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so now we've got these 7. So the easiest way to pare this down is we look we want to find the stock with the biggest spread between the levels on levels trend percentage and the levels on levels counter trend percentage. We want to find a big spread, and this tells me the probability of it closing above here and the probability of it closing below here. Obviously, we want a low number here because we're in an uptrend and a high number here. So RIG, for example, this is about, about 19% spread. This one here is about a 19% spread. All right, this EQT is much larger. It's about a 25% spread. So we know we can eliminate APA. EQT, look at this. EQT is by far the best. We know we can eliminate Hess. So anything that doesn't have, a 25% spread, we're going to eliminate because, that's what we want to see. RIG, we know, has a less than 25%. SE, look at this one. SE is slightly better, 38.5, 13.5, 38.5, 11.5. So SE is slightly better. So I'm going to eliminate EQT, even though EQT is good. All right, SE is the best stock for today to go long in. What we know about SE is it closed at 38.28 yesterday. It's got an expected high today of 38.58. It's got a very high, almost a 60% chance of hitting that historically. It's got an expected low of 37.98, and it has about a 35% chance of hitting that. When it hits this 37.98, it typically bounces off and closes higher. Why do I know that? Because it makes money on the levels to win profit. It also doesn't close below that level that often. That's good. On the trend side, when it hits the expected high, it typically rallies. I know that because the levels to win profit, all right? And it has a pretty high rate of closing above that. So SE is the best stock to go long today. What you can do is you can use the XLE as kind of a stop point or a gauge, where if the XLE hits 74.96, maybe you get out of SE because the XLE, the energy sector itself, tends to lose money if it hits the downside. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go long SE. At the open, I'm going to hold it all day long and close at the end of the day. Other areas to buy, we know 3 good entry points. At the open, close at the end of the day. We could also look to put a buy at 37.98 because that's an area that it typically bounces off and closes higher. That's a good buying area. And then if it breaks out and has a nice rally day, buying at 38.58 is another good place. But buy SE, this is the position I'm doing. SE is the best trade to go into today because we're in an uptrend and the energy sector is the best sector. SE is my trade for today. I can look at the charts and I can see that it does actually, in fact, look really good. It looks like it's looks like it's breaking out. It's sitting at a fairly key level, but I think we have nice room to rally up. I like SE a whole lot today, all day long, open and close at the end of the day. Thank you for your time. Make sure, do not let your trial expire. Email me if you have any questions. I'm here to help. We'll talk to you tomorrow.